Hello and welcome back to the top 85 games for the BBC Micro Video Countdown series. In at number 24, it's Hyperball. This was a late release for the Beeb, coming out in 1990 under the Play It Again Sam 13 compilation released by Superior Software, and the game itself was developed by Steve Parkinson. Steve took about 2 years to develop the game, finished making it in 1989, and that's then when he sent it off to Superior, and they released it along with Barbarian 2, Percy Penguin, and Pandemonium under the Play It Again Sam label. This is a very good game. It's a Breakout-inspired game, but definitely not a clone in my opinion. It's got a number of its own features which are definitely unique to the game. I think that the graphics and the sound effects are particularly special. And yeah, it's got a number of mechanics that we'll be exploring in this review, which I think mark it out as a distinctive game in its own right. This may or may not be the only Breakout clone that we look at in the series, but it's definitely the first one that we've seen so far. So without further ado, let's take a look. Okay, so let's start it up. Hyperball by Steve Parkinson. Now you can see a summary of some of the different bonuses that you can collect. I'll try and call those out as we go along. And some information here about how you can purchase upgrades and indeed skip to future levels. But as you can see, fairly straightforward controls. Lovely bit of splash screen art there. Looks like we're breaking into a bowling alley. That's kind of what that reminds me of. I think it's meant to be some kind of space castle. Anyway, here it is. Nice title screen as well. Quite like the Hyperball artistic text there. We're going to start with set A of the levels, and this is Arena 1. Now, the first thing to call out, look at that lovely, lovely effect as it loads the bat at the bottom. And look at the bat itself. It's got a nice little sort of rotating power grid there at the bottom, which I really like. It kind of just makes the bat seem that much more special. Now, I've collected a special power up here, which lets me shoot. Now, with Hyperball, of course, as soon as you collect any other bonus, no matter which one you currently have enabled on your bat, it will disable it now because the shooting one is, as you can see, pretty effective. I'm going to try and avoid catching any of these other bonuses. Some of them are pretty good bonuses in their own right, but as I say, that would disable my gun if I was to collect them. So I'm going to keep this as in action as much as I can. Try and blast as many of these blocks out. Oh dear, I've managed to catch the infrared bonus, which on this level is of no use whatsoever because there aren't any hidden blocks. The infrared bonus is useful on most other levels, but the first level of the set A of games, it doesn't actually do very much. And that's my life gone. But it does mean we get to see this wonderful load effect, which I really do like. I think it's just really, really special. And it's one of those attentions to detail that kind of just makes the game that much more special. You could just have the bat appear at the bottom, but no, it's got this kind of wonderful sort of piston, almost sort of warehouse effect going on as it's sort of rebuilding the bat. I really like it. You notice there are some weird sort of bubble creatures that periodically shoot across the screen. If you manage to catch them, you get a few extra points. Hyperball is a game where getting points isn't just a case of collecting them for the sake of. It's not just about getting your name into the high score table. Collecting points mean prizes, basically, because they do give you the... oh, now this is a good bonus. There we go. That lets you get as many balls on the screen at once. The nice thing about this bonus is that you can carry on collecting other bonuses while you've got it in play. And we're getting very close now to ending the level. As I was saying, sorry, points mean prizes. So the more points you get, the more opportunity you have to purchase some decent upgrades for your bat at the end of a level. You get another opportunity here to score a few more points. I've managed to get an extra 1,000 there. Now I do have enough to purchase a side-mounted cannon, but I know these levels very well, so I'm not going to buy it. Because as you'll see, level 2 in set A, there is no point having any sort of gun because all of the blocks on this level are sealed in by these indestructible blocks. I've already made a bit of a mistake there. You really do need to get the ball lined up into that middle section when you first start the level, because getting it up there after that is very, very hard work, almost impossible, especially if you're as bad at the game as I am. So we'll give that another try. Not doing too well on the life front at the moment, so we'll just try and angle it just at the right... No, managed to get the corner there. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, well, I'm not sure if this is going to make it up through the middle. Not looking very promising at the moment. have to say I'm not a huge fan of the color scheme on this level. Hyperball does do a lot of palette switching, so from one level to the next you get a variety of different color schemes. I particularly like the first color scheme, the sort of blue, red, and white. But this is a little bit, yeah, I'm not so keen on this green, yellow, and white. Let's see, come on. There we go. Now that's what you need to do. Once you've got the ball inside here, of course, you can then hopefully keep it in play as long as you can. Now I collected a slow motion one there, and now I've got the sticky one, which is really useful on this level, if you're actually any good at the game, of course, because it should give you the chance to line up your bat and then get the ball up the middle. Although it tends to depart from the bat at the same angle that it landed, so it's not always the easiest to make use of, especially on this level. No, I don't think oh dear, it's not doing too well there. Let's try that again. Here we go. No, straight back down. Okay, there we go. See, if you can keep the ball inside, kind of sit back and relax, really, and just collect the bonuses. That's a slow motion. Now, these X ones are pretty good. You can see up the top right. If you collect 3 of those in a row, you actually get to skip the level altogether. But unfortunately, they do reset. So if you lose a life, you lose your X's. So I've got 2 now. So if I was to get a 3rd one, that would take us off this level altogether. But it does rely on my ball pretty much at this point on its own. Now this is a good bonus as well on this level. Look at that. There we go. Cleared all of those out on the right hand side. Have to avoid that bonus there that you saw, the sort of mouse thing that comes down and turns upside down. There's another one there. They are vicious. They will either amplify the speed of your ball dramatically, which actually at this point wouldn't matter too much, or they can blow a hole in the middle, which is particularly nasty. I didn't manage to score any extra bonuses there. Wondering whether to spend some points on the quad cannon. I think, yes, this is a good level to use it on. And a nicer colour scheme too, I think. So you can see I've got a little stats bar, and that is my my energy for this quad cannon. I missed a good bonus there. Well, there we go, got it again. Now that doesn't happen often on Hyperball. You miss a decent bonus and then the same one comes along pretty much instantaneously. I need to be very careful here that I don't catch any of those mice. Wow, doing pretty well here. Only got one more. If I can just keep the ball in play. Oh, it's gone too fast. Nope. Oh, that was quite embarrassing. One block left, and I managed to fluff it. Ah well, got my name into the high score table, I suppose. Anyway, we're going to try the set B of levels next, I think. We've done a few of the A set, so let's go to the B set next. It's another great feature of Hyperball. It's endlessly entertaining because you can just load up a whole set of different levels if you get bored of playing the first set. A through to F. So we're on B now. Not particularly attractive colour scheme again, but we'll tolerate it for now. Now that gun doesn't do a huge amount for me because I can't really shoot many. Now there you go. That is the benefit of the infrared bonus. You can see all of those hidden blocks at the corners of the grid. I don't know, I'd say it's definitely a feature of Hyperball. I am still undecided about whether I really like the infrared aspect. It definitely increases the difficulty of the game, but if I'm honest, it also increases the frustration of it because you can clear all of the visible blocks on the screen and still not be able to exit the level because there are hidden blocks, and until or unless you get an infrared bonus, which if you've cleared all of the visible blocks is quite hard to do, it kind of leaves you in a bit of a limbo where you're just waiting to see if you can accidentally hit blocks that you can't see. So, as I say, it definitely increases the difficulty and the challenge of the game, so I won't fault it for that. But yeah, I do find it a little bit frustrating at times. Now, if I could get one more of those X bonuses, we could skip this level altogether. I have to say it's got so many hidden boxes. Oh, here we go. All 3. There we go. So we skip forward to the second level in sequence in set B. Yes, this level is not a good one to have the quad cannons or indeed any kind of cannons because, as you can see, there's a whole row of indestructible blocks there. Now there is a really, really exciting bonus that you can collect, which I tend to think of as the diamond cutter. I think it's I think it's called the indestructible or something like that. Basically, what it does, if you manage to collect it, is it turns your ball into a non-bouncing, indestructible weapon of mass destruction. And it will just rip through all of the blocks, regardless of whether they are indestructible blocks or not. Now, if I manage to get that bonus on this level and fire the ball off in a sort of sideways motion, it would completely clear out some of these nasty indestructible blocks. But it's quite a rare one. You don't tend to get many of them on a level. In fact, I don't think we've actually seen it show up so far. It looks like a kind of narrow diamond shape if you see that falling from the blocks. It's definitely one to look out for. It's probably my favourite of the bonuses. It does have a few drawbacks. You don't get any points for the blocks that you clear with it. And also it tends to speed up the pace of the ball as well if you do collect it, so it's quite difficult to control it. But it's so powerful, and it can really make or break a level if you do manage to collect it and use it for even a few seconds, to be honest. So I do hope that we'll get to see that, because it is, as I say, one of my favourite bonuses on Hyperball, and one that I don't think I've seen in other Breakout clones. Not claiming to have played all the Breakout clones that there are. I know that there are many clones of Breakout. Well, I shouldn't say clones, should I? That's very unfair to Hyperball. Not clones, but that was an unforced error. Moved out of the way just as the ball came down. Yes, so yeah, not Breakout clones, but games inspired by Breakout. Ah, there it is! Oh, and I missed it. Brilliant. That was good. I've been talking about that bonus all this time, talking it up, and then the moment it turned along, I missed it. Well, I suppose that's not unheard of on my game reviews, is it? Never mind. Hopefully we'll see another one. Now, I'm doing my best to avoid those sort of, I think they're called aliens. I tend to think of them as evil mice when they come along, because they are really destructive, and I don't, oh dear, I don't like catching them. But yeah, they vary in their effects. The worst is when they shove a hole through the middle of your bat, because that is really quite frustrating. Although I think the hole repairs itself if you collect another bonus, so it's not a permanent feature, not permanent damage. So this is not this level is probably not. Oh dear, I managed to collect the mouse there. See that all it did was speed me up that time, so that's not too bad. Oh, there we go! Look at it go! That's the diamond bonus. Look at it. Oh dear. Of course, it turns off as soon as you collect anything else, but yeah, look at the difference it's made to that level. Look, it's completely cleared out those indestructible ones at the top there. Now, I've only got 2 more visible blocks. I have a feeling this level has got its... Yeah, there you go, look. See, all the visible blocks have gone, but we haven't managed to complete the level yet, because somewhere on this level... Oh my goodness, that ball is going far too fast. Yeah, somewhere on this level there are some hidden blocks. So it remains to be seen whether we'll actually manage to get rid of them or not. You can only really tell that you've hit them by the sound effects and whether or not you get a bonus fall out of them. As I say, without the infrared tool, it's quite hard. A permanent infrared monitor actually is an available bonus. Sorry, not bonus, an available weapon that you can purchase if you get enough points. It's actually one of the cheaper upgrades, so it's not outside the realms of possibility. There we go. Found the last one by accident. Not sure whether to spend my points or not really at this point. Yeah, why not? Let's get a quad-mounted cannon and see if that helps us. It doesn't help at all. This level is saturated with indestructible blocks, so I don't think my quad cannons are going to do very much here at all. Yes, now I think overall it's fair to say that Hyperball has some very good sound effects, but on levels that are comprised of lots and lots of indestructible blocks, the repeated sort of shrill sound of hitting them is not great. But the dum 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 effect when you die is quite fun. So I'm going to load set C now, just to have another look at some other levels in Hyperball. As I say, it is one of these games that you really can play it for hours and hours, because as soon as you get bored of one challenge, you just move on to the next. We've got a nice colour scheme on this one. I tend to think of as the Gary Partis colour scheme, but it's not the easiest level to play, has to be said. I'm not overly fond of this level, so we'll see how far we get with it. as I say, it's where you've got these indestructibles that kind of get in the way. Oh, I got so enthusiastic about that bonus that I then lost sight of the ball, which didn't really help because then the ball went past and that was it. Curtains for me. Um, yeah, as I was saying, I don't tend to enjoy the levels that have got all of these indestructible blocks, partly because of the irritating noise that it makes, but also because it, it relies an awful lot on you positioning the ball in a good place at the start and then kind of sitting back and letting it do what it needs to do, which is, yes, there's a skill to it, but it's not quite as interactive as I would like. I think it's fair to say that Breakout-style games have got a very long pedigree. I mean, they probably date back to, well, they certainly date back to the Atari, which is where Breakout, I think, was originally developed. But I think it goes back even further than that. I mean, essentially, the idea of a paddle and a ball is very much a owes its pedigree to Pong. I think is probably fair to say. Oh, this is a good bonus. There we go. I'll make short work of this level with that one. Yeah, so Pong, obviously one of the very, very early arcade-style games. I think you can trace Breakout to even back as far as Pong, really. Albeit that Pong was more of a, I think it was designed to be a tennis-inspired game, whereas Breakout obviously introduces the idea of having to hit blocks. I suppose you could say Pong was inspired by tennis, maybe Breakout was inspired by squash. That's possible, isn't it? Now, it's at this point in the level that it really does become quite frustrating because, as you can see, the blocks that I need to get are housed inside those sort of prisons of indestructible blocks, and trying to get your ball lined up with those really is quite difficult. And given that I've got no lives left, I don't hold out a lot of hope. I think we might be looking at set D of levels pretty soon, unless I manage to achieve some kind of miracle here, which is very unlikely. So, oh, there we go. But it's okay because the jolly sound effect of dying on Hyperball is somehow worth it. Okay, so we're going to go to set D now. Take a look at these levels. Now, this one is deceptively easy looking. You think, well, that can't take too long, but well, there you go. Hidden blocks already, we can tell. There you go. There was a little insight into them there with the infrared bonus. It's not made any easier by this color scheme, actually. The yellow and cyan and white, it's not entirely clear which blocks are destructible and which aren't. I'll just say, although they're probably not the most interesting of the bonuses, the slow-mo pills can definitely save your bacon on this game. If you are stuck at a point in the game where your ball is moving far too fast for comfort, the slow-mo is really helpful. I do like the infrared effect there. It does kind of lend the game a sort of air of menace almost. Oh, there we go. Got one of the square sort of square crosses. Kind of looks like a Scottish saltire. Okay. Nope. Yeah, see, those invisible blocks really do make it quite a challenge. Let's see whether we can get another infrared, because that really does help at least identify where they are. Even if you only get to see it for a few minutes, it gives you a reminder at least of where the blocks are, so you know where to aim for. But it's a very, as I say, a very intelligently designed game. I think Steve Parkinson did a top-rate job, not just programming it, but designing it as well, because there's so many features to it that really work well together. The fact that you've got these potentially very powerful bonuses that can be switched off effectively by collecting another bonus. But then you've got still other bonus effects, like the one where you get all of the balls, sort of, I don't know how many exactly it is, but you get at least sort of 8 or 10 balls all flying around at once. You don't manage to switch that one off when you collect a bonus, so that can be really helpful. If you manage to get one of those and then a few of the slow-mo bonuses on top to slow it all down again, you can really get a lot of progress in the game with those two bonuses in sequence. And of course, if you can get one of those diamond cutter bonuses early on in a level, particularly one that's got a lot of indestructible blocks. Oh dear. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that go. Oh, Yeah, you see, that's the beauty of the game. You can get so carried away with what's going on at the top of the screen that you can sometimes fail to pay attention to what's going on at the bottom, and then of course it's yeah, curtains, as it has been for me. Well, we've given this a pretty solid 20 minutes worth of gameplay, and I think that I'm going to call it a day there. We've seen a good set of example levels. There are obviously a few other sets that we haven't looked at, sets E through F, but I think that's given a good taste of what Hyperball is all about. It is an amazing game. I really, really like it and really highly recommend it. So I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at Hyperball with me, and I hope that you'll join me for the next video in the series. And until then, goodbye.